welcome to this series of Google Cloud. And today we will learn about Docker and its usage and why we should use Docker. So, basically, first of all, let's learn what is Docker. So, Docker is an open platform for developing, shipping, and running applications. So what we do is we can separate our application from our infrastructure and treat our infrastructure like a managed one. So Docker helps us to ship for faster, test faster, deploy faster, and shorten the cycle between writing and running code. And we can directly use Docker in Kubernetes, which allows us to run Docker containers in Kubernetes Engine with ease. After learning the essentials of Docker, we will have skill set to start developing Kubernetes and centralized applications. So in this lecture, we will learn about building, running, and debugging Docker containers. We will learn how we can pull Docker images from Docker Hub and Google Cloud Container Registry, and we will learn about how we can push Docker images to Docker Container Registry. So first of all, here is our Google Cloud Console, and here we will use Google Cloud Shell for our working. We can also download Docker to our terminal local PC, but it might contain some like we have to we have much like okay. So first of all, we will learn different kind of Docker commands, and we will use Docker SDK or CLI. And first of all, let's start with Docker run hello world. So basically, what it's do is it will uh, pull this image, hello world image from Docker Hub, and this image will be created as a new container and runs as a executable. So we can see that this is the output from this image, hello from Docker. So we can see the different container images which are currently in our system with Docker images command, and we can see the image hello world is created by is there, and differently from this we have command like docker ps, which will list all the active containers. Currently there is no running container, and we can see uh, all the containers including the one which have finished as executing like hello world with using the flag. It's all. So we can see that the image name is hello world, and it's created like a minute ago. And so what are now we doing is we will create our own Docker image based on simple Node.js application. So first of all, let's create a folder named test and enter in this folder. So we are currently in the test folder. Now we will learn how to write Docker files. So we are using Nano editor to make our application. we will use from node version 6. So this will fetch the official node runtime as the parent image, and now we will set the working directory, that is the app, in the container, and we will add, or we can say we will copy the current directory content into the container at app folder. So this will copy the current contents to app, and then we have to expose the port 80 to outside world, means the external traffic. So we will use expose the port 80. And now the command which is used to run our Node.js application. So we will use cmd command and array for node, and the our file name, that is app.js, which we will create soon. So we will save it using control O and then enter, then control X, which exit the editor. So what we have done is that we have created a Docker file using which we will create our Docker image. So let's start writing our app.js. So we are creating a simple server. So first of all, let's import the HTTP module, or we can say library, and uh, let's create another variable called server. This would create instance of our server, and this would handle request and response. Okay, first set us status code as 200 means success, and select header as what we call as content type as HTML, and our request response as file, returning report. And let's listen to this server instance import uh, to member, and host name which will be an accessible over internet, and the let's console and the router is successfully created. Let's also that's running, and let's update, save it. So now what we are doing is we have done so far is we have created an HTTP server that listens on port 80 and returns hello world. Now let's build the image. So now we will use Docker build, and now we will use dash t tag, means tag. So the name of our image would be node app, and the version code would be 0.1, and the directory would be current. So we will using docker. So we can see our image is being filled in. Firstly, oh, so we have up here. So let's again start building. First, it contains 5 steps. The first step is it will fetch the official runtime environment of Node.js version 6. It's pulling and extracting the image, node image. And the second step would be it will set up the current working day as app and then copy the content of this directly to the app of container and then expose the 80 port and now it will uh, execute node app. So now we have done so far is we have created our own local image and let's list all the images which we have by local images. So we can see uh, there is the hello world image which is put in the initial steps and then the node app and the node image. So basically we can see that the size of node image is 884, hence our node app also have size of 884 MB. Means that the node app which we have created image have a parent image of node. So let's run our Docker image. We will use Docker run the port. It would be 4000. Name would be and the name of our image that is node app and the version of it is 0.1. So what's the name flag here allow us to set the name of the container and the P flag instructs Docker to map the host port 4000 to container port of 80. So we have to we can see that Docker image is being running. Now we can see the output by doing something like per HTTP localhost and the port would be 4000 because we have exposed a 4000 port. So we can see hello world here. So that means our container is being running. So now we can stop the container by using the command docker stop the name of the container my app. Docker's value is wrong. So let's select it. So you can see uh, our container is being stopping and let's list the all containers and images. Right, so we can see there are two images, hello world and Node.js, Node app. So let's remove our container, my app. Docker. So it's created. Now let's again try to run our image in the background. So we will use command docker run. The port would be 4020. It means it is mapping the containers 80 port to localhost 4000 port, right? So the name of the container would be it would be my app again, and the image should be app point one. So we can see there is container ID here, and we can list all our running dockers from here. So container ID is kind of uh, not this long, but few starting strings. So we can see log of this container using docker logs and the container ID, which is this. So we can see that uh, running, which will be logged in our node server. So now let's make some changes and rebuild our Docker. So we will do is we will change the content of app.js. Sorry, cd text. Yeah. So we will open app.js in our editor, and we will change this hello world to welcome to cloud. And let's again build our Docker image using tag node app, and this time we will use version point 2, and the directory would be current directory which is called. Okay. So this is again fetching, so we can see uh, the image node version 6 is already fetched, so it used the cache version. So now we will run this Docker image at about 8080 in this will map the OATO container, and let's name as my app. The destination would be node app point 2 version, right? So we have to use that only. So we can see our container is running. So we can use curl https host, and the port would be 8080. So we can see the output is welcome to cloud. So we can debug the container using as we see before as well, but now we are using F option or flag, which means uh, I think I don't know. Okay, so the Docker ID would be what would be Docker ID. So let's fetch the Docker ID first. So this is our container ID. So we can say Docker logs F. And this. You can see running is trying. Sometimes we want to start an interactive batch session inside the running container. So means sometimes we like open the shell within our container. So we will use Docker execute and IT flag. I will tell you about this in a second. So we can see we are in our container, right? You can see there are two files, Docker file and app.js. Let's make, okay, so we will exit from here. And, here we have used IT flag, which means interact with the container by allocating a pseudo TTY and keeping std open. Okay. So we can now examine the containers metadata using the inspect command. Uh, Docker inspect the Docker ID which is here, container ID. So we can see there are different kind of metadata like date or argument and state which is running, and that's all. And now we will publish our Docker image which we have built node app to the container registry like Docker Hub or Google Container Registry like. Okay. So first of all, let's uh, so for publishing we have to use Docker tag node app the version is Isca.io, the project ID which is and the our image name which is node app and version is point 2. So we have tagged that as well. So now we can see the Docker images. So there are two similar images, this and that. Uh, DCR. Okay. So it was actually DCR. Now we will push our container image. Docker push the tag name that is GCR, and then project ID and then node app version. So we can see it's pushing to the container registry, and now we can see from here as well when we check container registry and see that there is no app Docker registry which is being private. So when we open it, we can see a Docker image, right? So there are uh, like we can change the tag as well, or we can pull using this command, or we can see the metadata again. So that's all about pushing. And now we can stop the Docker container using Docker stop the container ID, or we can use Docker stop Docker PS. What this will do is it will stop all the running Docker containers. So we can see uh, it's stopped, and now we will remove all the Docker containers. So we can say so these were the Docker containers which now have been removed. We can see that. So there is no container now. So that's all about Docker. Here we showcase the probability of containers as long as Docker is installed on the host, or what we call VM virtual machine. It can pull images from public or private registries and run containers based on that image. There are no application dependency that have to be installed on the host except the Docker. So that's all about this video, introduction to Docker. We will meet in next video and learn more about few more services and applications of Google Cloud. So until that, stay tuned.